It's going live, it's spinning now, and you're live.
We welcome each of you that are here in person, those of you that will be watching live or archive on YouTube. This is the City of Dunbar Finance Committee City Council meeting, and it is 6 o'clock on October the 5th, 2020. And again, just a reminder for those here and those watching, with COVID-19, it's closed to the public, but on video, and also when we're here, everyone has, except for myself, has their mask on, and when I'm not talking, I'll put mine back on. And just encourage those of you, when you do talk, just to pull your mask down or off, whichever, so we can understand it on the video, but otherwise we keep our mask on for safety. And again, we are spread out a little, but not sufficient, so that's why we're staying with our masks. Thank you for your time, for being here, and we'll call this to order. And the first item is the minutes from September the 21st, 2020, the Finance Committee. We've got those September the 21st, 2020. And thanks to the Mayor and Councilman Steve Arnott for preparing these. You've had time to look over them. Any questions, comments, or corrections on the minutes from September 21? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to receive the minutes as written for September the 21st, 2020?
I recommend that we approve the finance meeting for September 21st, 2020.
We have a motion by Councilman Jim Hughes. Second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Connie Thompson. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Thank you. Our invoices are $70,695.36. A smaller batch for us, but we have these. We still take time to examine them, so we'll start. And again, we'll start first with your Connie Thompson, and then go around for the committee, and then when that's done, then we'll expand into any questions another council member has. But we'll start with any questions that Connie Thompson.
I had no questions.
Okay. So Connie has.
Oh, Bill thinks I have a question.
I'm just shocked.
Well, I do want to know how much B&O we got off Taco Bell's contracts, but
I can't tell you that,
why?
because B&O is against the law to push B&O out. Now, can I tell you how much permits and
That's
And all
what,
that?
yeah,
Yes, I
correct, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We got all of them, there was 11 contractors.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you know, some of them had their license all ready.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, that was $900 some. We got, let me think here.
The quote earlier from the building inspector was about $880,000 project.
We will get between $17,000 and $18,000 on B&O, all of them together.
Okay,
That's what we'll end up getting.
I thought that.
And then we got 7,000 to 8,000 on building permits.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Free money's good.
Yeah, then we'll get, of course,
The sales.
we'll get B&O on what the contractors, the job they got paid for.
Awesome.
And then we'll start getting them on sales.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I'll come around to Jim Hughes.
I don't have anything, sir.
Okay, and we'll go now to council members that are on the committee. Start with Linda.
I do. On the open invoice listing, page 1 of 3, what's a special or service call gasoline pumps? Do we have gasoline?
Oh yeah, we got gasoline pumps at the garage.
Oh,
We call it service call.
okay,
We had a little problem with them, and that's what that is.
okay. I've not been down there, so I don't know.
Yeah, we have 2 unleaded and diesel.
We buy all of our fuel on a contract with KRT, and then fire, police, everybody goes down there and fills up. Well, it's supposed to be. And then they have a code that matches for their accounts.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that's about.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
That's a pleasure. Good. So with that, again, it's for us a smaller amount, and you've reviewed it before you got here. We've asked questions. So with that, do we recommend, someone make a motion, we recommend payment of $70,695.36 to full council for vote?
I make a motion that we send the amount of $70,695.36 for payment for the invoices forwarded to full council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. We'll go to clerk's report. Connie Faulkner has 3 items for us. So our financial statement, and she'll explain that in our an update on the fireman's pension municipal fee fund, and then also a data max report.
Of course, it's first of the month and we haven't got all that together yet for you, so I did put a financial statement in your package. This is going, sorry to the newspaper, and it'll be run on October the 7th. And I'll give everybody a bigger copy. So, it's not much better, but it's a little bit better. As you can see, our expenditures was a lot less than what our revenues that we brought in. So that's where we had our carryover, but basically that's just telling us our revenues and who the companies we spend it with, and then it's got a couple of our indent account on there and our police and fire pensions that we put on there. So if anybody has any questions, we'll be glad to try to help on that. Also, I put in there what we received for month of September, and that was $15,249 on the $5 fireman's pension. So that will be put in the account here probably next week. We'll write a check for that. And then also our data max. I'll give you an up-to-date last year's totals and what we started out with data max. Of course, we haven't got our September numbers yet plugged in there yet. So there was 2 reports that was in your package.
Thank you, and we'll come back for questions in a second. But for those watching, this financial statement, the clerk's office every year publishes this, so it'll be in Wednesday's Gazette. That's the legal side of it. I'm not sure how many people actually ever read the Gazette these days, but
well, that's it there again. That's just state law.
But it's state code, and that way it has basically every expense in the previous fiscal year from July 1 to June 30 there, and every municipality is supposed to do that. So it'll be in Wednesday's Gazette for that. And then, as you shared, the fireman's pension, the rate we're going, we're looking at about 175 to 180 a year, which ideal is 200, but that's still a safe range from what we were planning. And I had one question, and I'll ask anyone else a question on the data max for last year. That total was 46,169, so that would be divided half to them and half to us, correct? The 46 would be 23 and change for them, and 23 and change for us. Okay.
Yes.
Again, all that goes into the fireman's pension fund as well. So we'll take this time now. Any questions anyone on this committee or council has for the clerk on those 3 reports?
I do. Have you noticed any kind of trend, like it's holding steady, it's going up and down?
On our
data max?
Data max is, as you can, of course, you know, there was 1 month there with nothing.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID, you know, they wasn't working.
Yeah.
It's really, they haven't really been collecting a whole lot here.
Yeah.
As you look in the
Yeah.
last few months, I don't know if that's the COVID thing, or I just don't think we had a lot of business here in Dunbar that hadn't got their license. Basically, these are some of those people that are out, not in Dunbar,
Yeah.
that's providing somebody a service here.
Okay.
You know, and I don't think we have that many businesses for them to get some of that info. You know what I'm trying to say, that there's not.
Okay, do we still have a contract with them?
Yes.
For what?
5 years.
5 years? Okay.
When, I can't remember when we started, and when does then at 2 years they collected half, and then we get whole after that? I can't remember how. Long.
No, it's always.
Yeah,
The whole time?
50-50 for them all the way through.
All the way through. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
I thought after so many years.
I thought they was after so many years that we started.
First 2 years.
Sure.
I will look the contract up and see
I could be
for
wrong.
sure.
I don't remember when we started. It seems like maybe a year, 2 years ago.
Now, once they've reached that 5, you know, that end of that agreement, then we'll start getting it all.
Yeah, that's what
I
I.
guess I didn't realize it was 5.
But I think during the 5-year periods, they still get the.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to look hammers.
But I will look that up and see how many years that contract is.
Like, I don't remember. Seems like about a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah, that's about what it is.
But after 5 years, they'll quit their effort,
Right, but
but we'll have all.
But,
we'll
for instance,
identify.
whoever they just got,
Yeah.
it's 5 years from,
Yeah.
so it could go as far as 10 years on that last one. Say,
Oh, yeah.
5 years from now, they get somebody, then it'll be,
Any other
That's
questions,
the
comments?
way I gathered it, so we'll make sure.
Sounds good.
Good.
No other questions? No other questions for the clerk? And again, she remind us this is October 5, so our next meeting will be more details about the preceding month. We drop down now to ordinances and resolutions. This will be we're looking at the second time. Voice vote for us, and if it passes here, it'll be a roll call with full council for second reading of ordinance 789. And again, just a reminder, this is beginning this pay period, if it passes, for 30 cents an hour for all full-time city employees, union or non-union, and then also 1,000 a year pay bonus for department heads such as Public Works, Parks and Rec, even though it's vacant, building inspector, police chief, fire chief, deputy fire chief. And so that's all the ordinance committee reviewed again the other day. Mayor.
Can you correct that to be pay raise and not a bonus?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's the bonus, yeah, it's pay raise. It's typed correct, I spoke wrong. Yes, because that's illegal to give a bonus.
Correct.
It's a 30 cents an hour pay raise and 1,000 a year pay increase on the department heads. Thank you. Any other questions? Again, this is second reading and ordinance reviewed again the other day, and some more paperwork is submitted, so I think your committee was satisfied, correct? Mike?
Yes, we did review it.
So, anything else? Tom?
Is the firefighter, is that in there? We don't have to make any kind of amendment?
Correct, it's now correct.
It's correct, okay.
Yep.
I'll also.
Yeah, it's corrected in your ordinance and when they submitted a matching payments there.
Okay.
Okay, hearing no more questions on this, again, for second reading, entertain a motion that we send to full council for second reading ordinance 789.
I make a motion that we send to full council a second reading of ordinance 789, granting a 30-cent per hour raise to all full-time city employees, police officers, and firemen. The public works director, building inspector, police chief, fire chief, deputy chief will receive $1,000 a year per pay increase. All payments will be made in full compliance with the city payroll procedures effective October the 4th.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, thank you, and again, thanks to Councilman Scipio and his committee again for reviewing that. We move down to the next item, B, ordinance 790, and this comes from the ordinance committee, but it does involve mayoral compensation, so I mentioned I will recuse myself, and I'll turn over for this part to our president, Steve Arnott, and then when this is done, I'll come back in for the next part.
Okay, first reading of the ordinance 790 will increase the compensation for the mayor by $2,500 annually. Need a motion to accept that.
I make a motion to accept the ordinance reading 790, increasing the compensation for the mayor by $2,500 annually.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made by Connie Thompson, seconded by Councilman Jim Hughes. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any opposed? Motion carries. We wish the chairmanship back over to Craig Hudson. And pass.
I guess I'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah, and again, it may not be, but probably best for both those to do that, because the next one, and again, no one that is a part of this was a part of the committee. Just to be safe, the next ordinance is about the city clerk. And so, and the current clerk can't vote on this, so that's why she's not happy to leave. She can't vote on it either way, because the clerk executes what we do. But, so the next is ordinance 791. And again, Councilwoman Thompson's recused herself. So it's the same thing, recommending for 1,000 annual increase. These can only be reviewed every 4 years, same way for council. Anything elected can only be reviewed once every 4 years. So that's what this is. So any questions on ordinance 791 coming from ordinance committee? Okay. Hearing none, do we entertain a motion to send to full council recommended ordinance 791, increasing the compensation for city clerk by $1,000 annually?
I recommend that, for the first reading of ordinance 791, increasing compensation for the city clerk by $1,000 annually.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Steve Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, thank you. That passes. And then that'll go to full council. So, you should be with the rest of it. Okay. We're done, Connie.
Okay.
We come now to new business. It was submitted to Parks and Rec. It's Jim Hughes' committee, receipt for $1,994.26 Dunbar Midget League football team for refurbishing 40 helmets. They put those in to be refurbished and then COVID hit and they can't sign anybody up. So Jim, any comments from your committee on that?
No, this is to redo, actually, instead of 40 helmets, it's supposed to be 46 helmets.
46, okay.
It's 46 helmets at $1,994.26, just to fix them all up and make them look all brand new, safety equipment and everything else in them. I'd like to entertain a motion, we take this before council for approval.
So you're making the motion.
Making a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so we helped Little League baseball a few months ago, and this is the football. And I think baseball had to take 2 weeks off because of the code red or whatever it's called. I think they're back. They
I
played
think they played.
Saturday, didn't they? The
Doug?
first game.
Did the
Baseball.
baseball kids play?
Yes,
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 good.
Saturday, yes.
So it's exciting to see them back out playing. We'll go now to B. Again, this come from Parks and Recs as well. 5.5 foot wide by 10 foot long utility trailer for Parks and Rec, not to exceed $1,400. That info is in your packet, but I'll let Councilman Hughes, his committee, explain it.
Everybody's got a little picture of the trailer here. Everybody knows the sprinkler park one very, very well, but we have to load, offload, load, and offload the equipment, even when it's stored, and get a chance of getting it broken. So what we've made a proposal to is to buy a permanent trailer for it. And then that way it stays on that trailer only. And then that way if anybody needs to get it, it can be pulled out of a car instead of a truck. It's very lightweight, and this will be hold all of our sprinkler park equipment and accessories for it. So I'd like to entertain a motion for council, we spend $1,300 and not to exceed $1,400 on a trailer.
So Jim Hughes has made the motion. And again, you have that information. Do we have a second?
Second.
Connie Thompson has made the second. Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you.
Can I ask one
That's
question?
good.
Is there anything with the sprinkler thing you have to do to winterize it, or is it just?
No, we're gonna keep it in our part of the bingo building, which is heated.
Oh, excellent.
Plus, it's little, not long, hoses, just tip it over and burn it all out, that's it.
Good, excellent.
Easier than full, right? We'll move down to C, Police Department. Again, you've read your notes. This is from their seizure account, so not the general budget, not their items there, but it's ammunition, not to exceed $3,938.76. If you read through it, it's 9mm, 12 gauge, 223, a mixture of full metal jacket and hollow points. So any questions for the chief on this? We have a motion to approve this to send to full council.
I make a motion to send to full council approval to purchase ammunition for the police department in the amount not to exceed $3,938.76, and it'll be paid out of the seizure account.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? For those watching, just to clarify, they have to qualify, and that uses a lot of ammunition. You have to qualify once or twice a year, chief.
We've been shooting 3 times a year,
3
twice,
times.
including a dim light.
And so this uses a lot of ammunition. And if any of you are into firearms, you know that right now ammunition is very expensive and very difficult to find. So it's always wise to buy it before you need it than when you need it. So that's what this is about. With that, any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you. We'll go down to D. Small elm tree needs removed. You see an address there on Fletcher, a large tree on West Virginia, and a stump, another address in West Virginia. Each of you have those numbers. I won't call those out, but you've got the addresses. And the bid is all you need tree service, $1,500. So take time to discuss that. And if you, I don't see Hugh, Mayor, anything you need to share on that since Hugh's not here.
No, the 2105 Fletcher, I think everybody's aware of that. This needs to be taken out of there so we can start finishing cleaning up that property. It's all inundated with vines and trash and everything. But we need, it's close enough to the power lines, our guys can't really work on that. And the others are just long-term problems that need to be resolved so we get the sidewalks fixed in those two areas.
That is a very reasonable price because tree removal can be extremely expensive.
I got a question. How come we only have one bid?
Actually, we had two prices. All you need tree service is Joe that used to work for American Tree, and he's substantially less than American Tree.
American Tree is one that used to do all of
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Well, actually, Joe was
Yeah, that's
worked for
right.
American Tree, did all of our work, so I don't know if that's good or bad, but
Well, while they're in town, can you look at that walnut tree on 8th Street and just give us an idea how much that costs? On that city-owned property, that the walnuts are hitting the people's houses. I think it's gonna be quite a bit, but it's a big tree. But while they're here, they can look at that.
If there was a deer near that tree, you'd say no to it.
One problem.
Probably not gonna take it.
It's a huge tree.
Anything else about the tree removal? There's 3 addresses and a bid. The low bid is $1,500.
One other thing, please. I know I'm not on finance.
You're fine.
About tree removal, stump removal, Mr. Mayor. Those 3 stumps on 18th Street, we had cut down stuff. There's trees starting to grow back out of 2 of them. Can we get those stumps ground out of there or get a price for it, please? It's in the first 400 block 18.
is it the last ones that were cut down, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion to send to full council this recommendation of $1,500 for all you need tree service?
I make a motion that we send to full council and approve or remove the trees at the different addresses, by all you need tree service at a lump sum cost of $1,500.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, so Council Lady Thompson's motion, Councilman Hughes is the second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, again, the clerk is not able, because of the time of the month, that's the first of the month, she's given us all that she has. We'll take time now for the mayor, if there's anything about finances for the city.
I don't know if you all had a chance to go through the enlarged version a little bit.
Luckily,
That's all you can say.
It's a really small version. If you note that Connie and I were talking earlier today, and she highlighted a couple of numbers that I think you ought to be looking at. Our base revenue is over on the left-hand side, and it's got a line on top and bottom, and it's $6,594,000. Then if you go over to the far column on the right-hand side, you'll see a double line around our expenses, which was $6,408,000. So again, we did a really good job. Even though we had a $7 million budget projected, a lot of that was carryover that we had dedicated to special projects that we didn't do last year. And we'll be doing the same thing next year. So, you know, when you start looking at your budget next year and budget planning, you need to be looking at what we historically bring in from our revenue sources and dedicate that carryover money for one-time projects, you know, like whether it's a slide repair or, you know, some kind of buying a major piece of equipment as opposed to the revenue. And Connie, what is it you always say, Connie?
Do we have, where's the money coming from? Do which line to take it from?
No, just because it's budgeted.
Oh, yes, I do say that a lot. Just because the budget doesn't mean that money's there.
You know, you really don't know until June 30th. I mean,
Till those B&Os and taxes come in.
you know, whether or not we're actually going to bring in the money that we budget. I mean, we make a rational decision based on our history, and I think you get the marriage report whenever she does the end of the month things that you can kind of compare from previous years to this year, and you can see how the cash flows. So when you all are setting the budget next year, keep those things in mind, that it looks like we have a lot of money, which we're stable now, but you can't make long-term commitments. You can make short-term commitments, but not long-term commitments on those things.
Yes, if you really look at our last year's short budget, what we actually had estimate to bring in revenue was 7.4. But the fact that we didn't spend everything, and so we had a good carryover, that $1 million, almost $1 million carryover the previous year, so that helps.
I think that, you know, the comments that I made at the groundbreaking for Taco Bell, I mean, all the numbers in Dunbar have been looking good all the way through this COVID-19 thing. We don't have a huge diversity of businesses like the other cities have in the valley. We have some good, solid, stable businesses that their business has not been radically impacted by COVID. There's been some turn down, but not to the magnitude that everybody was anticipating. So I think
Our main business is groceries, so we have to eat.
This winter, you know, I think we're going to have a strong flu season. And how that impacts us, you know, we won't know until we come out of it in the spring. But we have set that money aside, you know, to help us weather that storm. So I think we're kind of like a squirrel. We've got our nuts put away. And fortunately, we know which tree they're under. We're not going to have to run through the forest and look all over the place. But I think overall, I think it's a very good. They didn't like my house. So I just have really good feelings about where the city is, and I think if we can get Shawnee back working, we'll get the people knocking on our door again, like Taco Bell did, and start getting some more commercial growth here in Dunbar. That's all I gotta say.
I did hear that Taco Bell was very pleased with first weekend. So I guess.
It looks
Considering you can't
nice.
go in and eat, and
It looks nice. You know, that lot was empty forever, and it just looks nice.
Any other financial related questions or issues?
Question for the mayor, since we're talking, you know, you may mention something about the McCracken property. Can you enlighten us on anything here?
We're working with Mrs. McCracken. As you all are aware, her husband died right after the first of the year, and the family is just now talking with me pretty regular about stuff that's, some potential. So I think they're moving past that. There's been at least one entity that I've set up to talk to about a portion of it. And, you know, personally, I think it would be great to see 2 or 3 businesses in there instead of just one great big business.
We put that
You know, the more diversity you have, the more financial potential you have, and that stimulates other people to want to come.
I've represented the Krakens for years. They initially bought that for the sheets, thinking the sheets would go in. When that didn't happen, they're very pliable to find commercial interest. That's why he bought it. It wasn't to be a landlord or to rent, it was to develop it commercially. So I just agree with the mayor. I think they're more than willing to work with it.
The potential intersection there is dead.
I know that was talked about, and I've talked to the district engineer about it, and he was like, I can't ever envision it being approved. I mean, that intersection is complex, complicated enough without adding a straight through lane going straight across in the midst of all that. I mean, conceptually, it might work okay because it might divert a lot of traffic that wants to turn left and eventually turn right on the other side of the railroad track. It might get some of that traffic once people learn what you're doing. But the way it was originally envisioned was just a straight in shot to Sheets. It was not going to be a street going, which would have been really a disaster. So, I mean, he just did not feel with all the complaints and hassles that they get that it would be a viable option. And I've talked to the McCrackens and the other people that are looking at the development, and they don't really see it as a problem. As long as they can be seen from the intersection, people will find a way to get there. But the ideal thing is you have to be seen before they'll come try to get to you. Just like Aldi's. I mean, Aldi's is there. I mean, you see it, and it's once you figure it out, it's
definitely not.
They only jump the curb one time, tear the bar of their car, then they learn.
Was that
how to go
leaving?
around.
Was that leaving or coming in?
Coming in,
Wow.
Oh, your kids.
so at least 3 that I know of.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. But they learn after that to go around the whole circle. And these weren't SUVs.
oh,
Yeah.
Any
no,
other?
it's probably men. Or they might.
2 men, 1 woman.
Oh, right.
Any other finance related questions for the city?
Who went in the old State Farm building down in Dunbar Avenue?
Homeland Security,
Who's in there now?
state agency, yeah, state Homeland Security.
Is that either a home office now?
I haven't gotten an honest answer as to how long they're going to be there.
That was the question.
I mean, they don't pay B&O taxes or anything, so.
I have to see a lot more cars going in there now.
We do get from Arno Toss owns the building, but we do get, we will be getting, he will have to start filing for his B&O taxes on the lease for the property. But as far as what goes on inside, it's not a tax base. But I think it's good to have them here because there's a whole bunch of people there. They're gonna be eating at the restaurants and stuff here in the city,
guys.
and probably shopping.
It's not.
There's more cars bound in there a little each day when you went out here. What happened to our army tank?
It went to Cross Lanes. I think that's one of the units was employed to Cross Lanes, and it's taken it's taken a different complexion of usage than what it was before.
Well, Homeland Security came from the Armory, didn't they? Some of them
Part
were
of,
there.
part of them came out of the armory.
So is there anyone still in the armory?
Pardon?
Is there people still in the armory?
It's packed every day at the boat.
Yeah,
Actually, there's a little bit more in there.
and, but most of the cars on the parking lot from that sewer project parked there. There is still a bunch of cars over there.
Anything else? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you. We'll be back at 7 for council meeting.
Where are you going?
No.